Hey math enthusiast, I'm here to continue the notes on density. And let's take a look at number 2. So I'm told that lead has a density of 10.678 grams per centimeters cubed. And we're given a block of lead and it has a mass of 800 grams. From that information, I want to determine what the volume of that lead is. So let's recall our formula or definition of density. So it's the comparison of the mass to the volume. Now, in this case, I'm trying to solve for the volume. So let's see if I can rewrite my equation so that I can just get V equals. So in order to do that, it looks like I'll have to multiply both sides by V to get it out of the denominator. So that's going to give me my equation for mass, which would be density times volume. Then, in order to get volume by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by density. So it looks like in this case, the formula to calculate volume is going to be mass divided by density. So now let's plug in our information. So they tell me my mass is 800 grams. And they specifically tell me my density is 10.678 grams per centimeters cubed. Now what's going to happen here with my units is the grams are going to cancel out. My final units are going to be in centimeters cubed, because it's volume. My answer is 74.92. Now, technically my answer was 74.9203, but I only chose to go so many places after the decimal. All right, because the other unit they gave me for density only went 3 places after the decimal. Now, moving on to number 3, we're talking about Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. So the archaeologist, Indiana Jones, he replaces a solid golden idol with a bag of sand in the opening scene of the movie. Now, the idol rested on a platform which was precisely counterbalanced with the temple's ancient self-destruct mechanism. Now, the idol can be modeled as a cylinder with a height of 18 centimeters and a radius of 6 centimeters. And then they go on to tell me more information. The density of gold is 19.32 grams per centimeters cubed, and the density of sand is 1.6 grams per centimeters cubed. First part of the question is asking me what is the volume of the idol. So they told me in the problem that I could imagine the idol is shaped like a cylinder. And it's a cylinder with a height of 18 centimeters and a radius, so from the center to the edge, is 6 centimeters. So in order to calculate the volume, I'm going to need to know the formula for the volume of a cylinder. So if you recall from our previous section, that is pi r squared times height. So now let's plug in our information. So pi is going to be my constant. R in this case is going to be 6. I'm going to have to square that and multiply by my height, which is 18. Which gives me a volume of 2,035.75. We're going to go to the nearest tenth, since those were the units they were using up top in my given information. And once again, my units are centimeters cubed. Now, I got that answer by using the pi key, not 3.14. So moving on to part B. Now I want to know what is the mass of the idol. So to help me calculate for mass, I'm going to go back to my formula for density, which is mass divided by volume. Now, earlier in the notes, we figured out that if I want to calculate mass, what I'm going to have to do is density times volume. Now, I'm told the idol is solid gold, so its density is going to be 19.32 grams per centimeter cubed, and its volume was the cylinder that I just calculated, which is that 2035.75. Now, since I'm calculating the mass, I know my units are going to come out to be grams, and it looks like the mass is going to be 39,330.69. And as I said earlier, that's going to be in grams. The last part of this question is asking about the volume of the sand that I'm going to need to avoid tripping the self-destruct mechanism. So in other words, I need the mass of my sand to be equal to 39,330.69 grams. The other thing I know is that the density of the sand is going to be 1.6 grams per centimeters cubed. So once again, I'm going to rely on my formula for density, which is mass divided by volume. And in this case, I need to rearrange it so that I'm solving for volume. And what we found earlier is that volume is equal to mass divided by density. So let's plug in our information. So my mass is 39,330.69 grams over 1.6 grams per centimeters cubed. And I know my volume is going to work out to be centimeters cubed. Gives me a final answer of 24,581.68. And once again, my units are centimeters cubed.